Hello guys, a very good evening to all of you. So guys, we started with accountancy, 11th CBSE accountancy in the last class, and we just try and understand just the outer line, from a layman language as to what accountancy means, right? And having understood that, guys, we just got into a little bit technicality of what accounts means, right? So we understood that accounts is basically a systematic process, right? Now, why do we have a systematic process? If we do not have a systematic process, first of all, there would be some people who would be maintaining accounts, some people will not be maintaining accounts. To enable everybody to maintain the accounts, the system has to be in place. Point number one. Second, after having a system, we need to have a process. If we don't have process in place, each business will try to account in its own way, and we will not get the desired output. We will not get the uniform profitability that is expected for a given set of a question or a given set of a business. So for that reason, the process was late. And what was the process, guys? It said that when you start thinking about accounting, the first step you need to do is you need to identify what a business financial transaction. So what is a transaction, guys? We understood that transaction is something which is taking place between two people. A transaction cannot happen between one person. There has to be two person, and that should be related to money or money's worth. It is not necessary that the money should be paid immediately. For example, if I'm going and buying a chocolate, okay, if I'm making the payment now or later, still it is a transaction because money is involved. It is not necessary that the money needs to be paid immediately. Money should be involved in the transaction. That is what they're trying to do. Say money, and it can be money. Instead of money, it can be even goods. That is goods against goods, goods against service. Right. So what that means is what we'll understand next couple of classes, right? And which transactions we are looking here for in accounting? We are looking for a business transaction because, guys, financial transaction happens in our personal life as well as in business. So we are not concerned. That is, business. Government is not concerned with personal transactions. Government is concerned only with the business transaction. So of all the transaction that happens with you, you need to segregate what is personal transaction, what is business transaction, and you have to pick up only a business financial transaction. After taking that, the second step is for me to account, guys. I need number, I need value, right? So you need to measure the transaction in terms of price or money. I cannot record a sentence in the accounting. I need some value. So you have to identify the value, the price, the money. That is the second step. After doing this, guys, now the practical aspect of the accounting starts. That is, the practical aspect starts with recording. Recording. So how do you technically call it in accounts? In accounts, we call as journal. In the layman language, we say recording. In accounting, recording starts with journal. Anything which you want to put in accounts, you cannot just write 2000 rupees like that. This 2000 rupees has to be written in form of a journal entry. What is a journal entry? There's a separate chapter which we'll be learning, right? Once you record in a journal, I said you, then we have to take it to the ledger. That process of posting the transaction from journal to ledger is called as classification. After you record it in journal, then you have to summarize. Summarization happens in trial balance, in P&L account, and balance sheet. What is ledger? What is trial balance? What is P&L? What is balance sheet? We have a separate chapter for all these individually. So that is a stage where we'll be understanding in detail what this means. So basically summarizing all the transaction which is individually scattered, we summarize in one place so that we can do some analysis. We can do some interpretation, right? Once you interpret, this will be communicated to the users. Who are the users? The business owners, government, and so many other people. So many other people would want this information to come to them. For example, shareholders. You might not understand what a shareholder means, but when you come to 12th, you will understand what is a shareholder. So like that, there are so many people. Bank who is giving loan to the business, he is also interested. He is also interested in your profit to see whether you are capable enough to pay the loan or not. So there are so many users of the financial statement. What is financial statement? Financial statement comprises of trading and profit and loss account and balance sheet, right? So this is a glimpse I'm giving you guys. This is just an outer line. I'm just giving you the top layer of what accounting is. As we keep going inside, guys, you'll get the real meaning of accounting. You'll get the pulse of accounting. So we also understood in the last class that the first four activities, that is identifying, measuring, recording, and classifying, is something done by a junior accountant. And that process is called as bookkeeping. And where the bookkeeping ends, accounting begins, which begins from summarizing, interpreting, and communication. So bookkeeping is different, accounting is different. You can get a 1-mark question, or you can get a 2-mark question as to what is bookkeeping, as to what is accounting, right? And bookkeeping and accounting put together, the entire process is called as accountancy. Accountancy is basically a rule book which tells us how to do the bookkeeping, how to do the accounting part, right? Yes, guys. Then what did we understand? What is the need for accounting? First and foremost need is that we need to know the profitability of the business. If I don't know what is the result of my business, whether am I profitable or I'm not profitable, if I don't know the result, then what is the point in doing the business? If I'm in continuous loss for 5 years, then it is a high time that I should stop, close the business and go to something else, right? So it is very important that for a entrepreneur or a businessman or the owner to know what are his profits and loss from the business. So this is prepared using a statement called as trading and profit and loss account. What is meaning of trading? What is profit and loss? What is account? Everything one by one we'll understand in detail, guys. Please don't worry, right? This is called as trading and profit and loss account. This is a statement where you prepare, basically you put some inputs and you get the profit and loss, right? Next is to ascertain the financial position. What is the meaning of a financial position? We'll understand in the next couple of classes. So this financial position is understood through a statement called as balance sheet. Through a statement called as balance sheet. These two are, what do you call it? Your great friends, where they'll be keeping on following you until you stop studying accounts. That is, accounts is incomplete without these two words. That is trading and profit and loss account and balance sheet, right? So I said you that just as we have a cycle of English language, the same way we have a cycle of accounting also, which starts with identifying a business financial transaction, measuring in terms of money, then journal, ledger, trial balance, trading in P&L and balance sheet. These two put together is called as financial statement. Am I clear with this, guys, all of you? Is it making sense what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
These two put together is called as financial statement. So there could be a question, what is a financial statement, right? So you have to mention these two without forgetting, right? Okay. So this is what I summarized in the last class, guys. Whatever I took in the last class, I've just summarized it. Now I have a small portion to take here, then I'll switch over. Period of accounting. Now tell me one thing, guys. If I, start a business, when you start a business, do you start with intention that I will close it at the end of the year, or will you keep on doing it forever, ever, like 10 years, 15 years, 40 years, 30 years? Some business runs even now for 100 years. So when you start a business, will you start with the intention to continue for a very long time, or do you start with the intention that okay, I'll close my business at the end of the year?
Continue for a long time.
Continue for a long time, obviously, isn't it? But the problem here is you continue business for 30, 40, 100 years, we have no problem. But somewhere you need to stop yourself and look back and see whether my performance is good or bad. How do your performance is reflected, whether it is good or bad? By preparing your various statement of analysis, such as trading and profit and loss account to derive my profit. So somewhere you have to stop, look back and see that in this period, whatever business I did, am I profitable? Am I lost? Like that, you can do so many analysis statement. The different analysis statement is something which you learn in 12th. In your 11th, you're learning only one thing, which is your trading P&L and balance sheet. So guys, government said that you run your business forever. We have no problem. But somewhere you need to stop. And for that period, you need to calculate your profitability. So what is that period? So normally the calendar year is what, guys? The calendar year, what we follow is Jan to December. Am I right? Jan to December is what is we called as a calendar year. Am I right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But in accounting, we do not follow the calendar year. We have financial year. And the financial year which is being set by our government is April to March. I don't know how many of you have heard your parents or your relatives saying that 31st March is year ending in the business. Have you heard anything like that?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right. So that is basically the year ending of the financial statement. That is the business year end, not the actual year end. For us normal people, the actual year ends with 31st December. But for business, the year ends with 31st March and begins with 1st April. So April to March, this is called as a financial year, FY, financial year. It is called as a financial year. The logic is that somewhere I need to stop in between to understand that during this period, whether whatever business I did, whether my performance is good or bad. And on this basis, you have to decide whether you have to pay tax to government or not. Right, guys? So this is something we have to remember. This is very, very important point in all the practical questions. In most of the practical questions, what you do in 11th as well as in 12th, this financial year will keep on coming to you. Right? So accounting is generally done for a financial year which starts with April and ends with March. So we are into which financial year, guys, now? Can I say our financial year starts with April 2021 and ends with 31st March 2022? Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Everybody?
Yes, sir.
Guys, I hope all of you are able to understand what I'm saying.
Yes, sir.
This is called as accounting period. This is called as accounting period. This was a small concept since we did not have time last class, so I thought I'll just do it in the next class. Right, guys? So whatever I'm teaching you now is nothing but, guys, it's a part of your first chapter, which is Introduction to Accounting. Now, one thing I want to tell to all of you here is, guys, when you study accounts, okay, in particularly accounts, you'll come across two kinds of theory. Right? You'll come across two kinds of theory. One, such kind of a theory that when you do that theory, only then you'll be able to do the practical questions, which means theory first, practical question second. Without doing this theory, you will not be able to do the practical question. Okay, this is one part. This is one part. Another part is, guys, there are certain theories you will not understand if I do it first. You will understand only if I do the practical question first and then do the theory. Only then these theories will make sense. Why? Because in these theories, there are certain terms, there's certain language or certain words which is used, which you're not familiar with. When you're not familiar with such kind of words, if I take that theory also, you will read it, but you will not understand it. So last year also, what I did is basically when I started my first year of teaching, guys, I took both the theories together. And later I understood that people did not understand this part. Then from that year onwards, what I changed is I changed my strategy and I started just splitting the theory into two parts, right? When I did this, first I did this. And after finishing all the practical chapters, I came back again to this. And when I took a feedback from the student, people felt this method is much better. Because when I did the theory here, guys, people were actually able to relate what I'm trying to explain. So guys, you tell me now, do you want me to follow the same strategy with you? Or do you want me to take all the theory in the beginning and then do practical part? What do you say, guys?
The same thing.
That is theory, this first and this later at the end.
Yeah.
Others?
Yes, sir.
Others, all of you with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir.
Super, guys. So with this understanding, we'll proceed forward to the second chapter, guys, because in the first chapter, I'll stop it here. I'll stop it here. And whatever is being happening here, basically, if you see there are certain terms here, you will not be able to understand now. So I can give you a couple of demos here. There's something called as financial data, financial position, right? And there's something called as, budgeting, forecasting, right? There are a lot of things. If you go through, there are a lot of things which, you might not understand it. So these part alone, guys, basically, I would say the most of the chapter of theory, I'll come back later. But yes, there could be certain practical questions, guys. Along with that, I might come and do the theory. I can relate those theory with the practical questions. So yes, even that is also possible. While doing some practical questions, I'll be relating and teaching some theories. So some theories will be done in starting, some theories in between, and some theories at the end. So this is the strategy we'll follow, guys. So with that understanding, I'll take you all to the next chapter, which is nothing but basics accounting terms. Before we understand accounting in detail, guys, it's very important for us to understand the terms of accounting, because this is something which you're learning for the first time, right? So this entire chapter, guys, probably I'll take today and next class and complete this for you. So you get familiarized with the accounting transaction. Please don't think that by end of this chapter, you'll become a master in all the terms. No, there are certain terms, guys, only if I repeat 10 times while doing a practical question, only then you'll understand. Right? So this is just a process where you have just started something new. So to get used to that, you need some time. You need to give yourself some time. You need to give me some time to explain you and bring you inside the loop of accountancy. Right? So with this understanding, guys, let's head towards the second chapter, which is basic accounting terms. Now, the first thing you'll frequently come across is the word books of accounts. books of accounts. Now guys, today is a scenario where we maintain all our accounting on a system, laptop, right? So all the people, majority of the people, those who are working, either they are working on desktop or on laptop, where all the accounting softwares are installed and accounting is happening in that. But before the computer was introduced in our country, guys, people used to manually record the accounts. So where do you record the accounts? Can I say you'll record it in book? Tell me guys, if the system was not there, let's suppose 20, 25 years, 30 years ago, when laptops, computers were not there, how do you think that people did accounting? Of course, even those people did accounting, guys. Accounting is not a system which is from now. It's from so many years, hundreds of years. So in those olden days, people used to write it in books. And it's not one book, guys. There are multiple books. For journal, let's say some 10 books. For ledger, some 10 books. For trial balance, some 4-5 books. For P&L and balance sheet, maybe 1 or 2 books. Like that, we had multiple books. So all this put together, that is your journal, ledger, trial balance, your financial statement, that is trading, P&L and balance sheet, all these together is called as books of accounts. And even though you have now shifted to the system, they still continue to call it as books of accounts. They have not changed it. Even though we are using the system, we are still using the old name, that is books of accounts. So what is books of accounts? The place where the financial transaction of the business entity are recorded. Any doubts in the first part?
No, sir.
You can look at the image here, guys. There is multiple files here, multiple folders which is there, which can be for journal, which can be for ledger. It is multiple books, right? Okay. So now let's understand cash transaction. You'll frequently come across this word as cash transaction. Now, I explained you the meaning of transaction yesterday. Transaction means there's something which happens between two people. This is person number 1 and this is person number 2. Now, these two persons are meeting each other. There could be certain reason. Maybe one person is giving goods to another person, and because of that, this guy is giving me the money, right? Or if this person can give a service to the yellow person, and maybe the second person wants to give him money. So I'm not discussing about this. I'm discussing about this. Whenever a transaction involves immediate cash receipt or immediate cash payment. For example, if you see in this transaction, this gentleman is giving the goods to the other guy, and the person is immediately giving a cash. When the goods is going and cash is also coming simultaneously, then this is called as a cash transaction. This is called as a cash transaction. The nature of transaction is a cash transaction. Yes, is it making sense to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Now you may ask a question, sir, is it necessary that whenever the first person is giving goods to the other person, he has to immediately give cash? Not necessary. There are a lot of businesses, guys, where we take the goods or we sell the goods, but we don't collect the money or we don't give the money instantly. We say that we'll give after 1 month. For example, you must be, I don't know, most of you have this thing or not. At least in my house, earlier, not now, earlier, there was a thing that, there's a buy kade, next to our building, the corner of the road. So my mom always used to go, every morning she used to go there and take certain items, and she used to just come back. She never used to pay money. She says that, Anna, now on the daily amount, you make a note of it. At the end of that week, whatever the amount is, I will give it to you. So what the transaction is, that is a credit transaction where my mom purchased the goods, but she did not pay the money. Or that person sold the goods, but did not receive the money. For my mother, it is a purchase. For that buy kade, it is a sale. Both of them entered a transaction, but in that transaction, it's a financial transaction, guys. Financial transaction means what? Sooner or later, money has to be paid, but the money is not paid instantly, right? So this gentleman is giving goods to this gentleman. He's happily receiving the money. Why? Because he doesn't have to pay the money now, but he has to pay it later. So this kind of a transaction where the cash receipt and the cash payment are not paid immediately, but will be paid or received in future or a later date, it is called as a credit transaction. Guys, are you able to understand now? Something?
Yes, sir.
Making sense, everybody?
Yes, sir.
Akash?
Yes, sir.
Anything which you're not able to understand?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay, very good. So now let's go ahead. Now, if you see, next is purchase, guys. Without purchase and sale, your trading and P&L account is incomplete, right? So you'll come across this word purchase so many times, I'll tell you. So what is the meaning of purchase? Purchase is basically, all of you know, you go with your parents and do a lot of purchasing, but you don't call that as a purchase. Though in the layman language or in day-to-day language, we call it as a purchase. For example, I went to Spar and I did purchase of my snacks, chocolates, everything. We call it as a purchase, right? But purchase in accounting is different. Let's understand what accounting says. Accounting says that purchase means you're buying goods. Obviously, we're buying goods with the intention to resell. Oh my God. Now tell me guys, when we go to a department store and buy, do we buy with the intention to consume or do we buy with the intention to resell?
To consume.
All of us go to department store because we want to consume the items. That's why we go. So the intention is not resell. So that you cannot call it as a purchase. For it to be a purchase, to record something as a purchase in your books of accounts, you have to have the intention of reselling it. When I went and purchased the entire carton box of chocolate, I went with the intention to buy and resell it. I'll bring it to my shop. I'll purchase and bring it to my shop and I'll resell it to my customers. If that intention is there, guys, only then that goods will be treated as purchase. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
If you're buying these goods with the intention to consume, then it is not purchase, it is other expenses. This point is very, very important. I'll be repeating this again in future, but this is very important when we do journal entry. That time again, this point will come. So you have to keep this point in your memory. And what I'll do is after I complete the admission process, guys, I'll be sharing this PDF with you. I'm just yet to complete this PDF. So probably by today or tomorrow, I'll complete this PDF and I'll send it to you. So you can also mark certain important points. So this is something which you have to mark it down, guys. So you can use a marker, guys. Sorry, basically that's not a marker, that is a highlighter. Guys, I think this is the one I'm talking about. Probably you can get this highlighter, guys, and probably use wherever it is required to highlight it. Now, one thing, and I tell people, guys, please get a highlighter and highlight. I don't know what joy people have. They start painting the entire book. I've seen a lot of books, not one or two books, guys. People get not only this yellow color one, they get this orange color, they get the green color, and they paint entire paper. When I turn around, everything is important. So what is the purpose of highlighting? The purpose of highlighting is that when you read a book, there are a lot of things. Okay. You don't have to recollect all those points during exams. So probably you highlight certain important points so that you remember, okay, this is something which I have to read at least 5 to 6 times. That is the purpose of highlighting. So my handfold request to all of you is that if you get the highlighting done, please do not paint the entire book. If you're really interested in painting, please ask your parents to get yourself enrolled in painting class, but not in accounting. Right? So, but yes, this technique will help you to highlight the very important points. Right? Okay. Now, goods will be purchased from the supplier and vendor. If you see the person, guys, if you see this gentleman, this gentleman is supplying the goods here. Okay. This person who's supplying the goods. Okay. This is we. This is business. This is first business. This is my second business. Okay. So this is us. Business means we. So we are buying the goods from this gentleman. So this person is called as supplier. What is it called as, guys? Supplier. Another name of supplier, because in India we are not satisfied with one name. We are not satisfied with one name at all. We want at least 2 to 3 names. And you not believe, guys, I have a son who's 3 months old. I have kept one name for him. And do you know how many names he has? He's got 7 to 8 names. Okay, so out of love and affection, people call him in multiple names. So Indian people, guys, I don't know what joy they have. They cannot stick to one name. They want to have something, I will keep the name. You don't keep the name. No, they want to invent their own names. So like that, we have another name for supplier, which is called as a vendor. Right? So supplier and vendor, these are two crucial terms and very, very important. This person is also called as a creditor.
Seller.
No. Yeah, correct. Seller, if you're accounting from his point of view. Now, whatever this term supplier, vendor, and creditor I'm telling you, it is from our point of view. Right? So yeah, you can say seller, not a problem. You can say him as a seller, but it will be from his point of view. I'm a seller. For example, if I sell this goods to somebody, I will call myself as a seller. Right? We don't use the word seller very frequently here. We use these three words very common. And this is the ultimate. You cannot for a second forget your name, but do not forget that this gentleman is called as a creditor. Yes, you can forget your name for a second, but not creditor. Very, very important. These all three names is from our point of view, from business point of view. So goods will be purchased from supplier or vendor. This point is clear. Next. Now the purchases can be of two types, guys. Purchases can be of two types. One is cash purchase, another is credit purchase. We studied this word somewhere just a few minutes ago, cash and credit. Do you recollect?
Transaction.
Yes,
Cash
sir.
transaction.
Cash is
Now,
the-
exactly. Now, when the supplier is giving me the goods, when he's giving me the goods, this is the first step. He's giving me the goods, and okay, not this. Wait, once again. Yeah. So the supplier is giving me the goods. Okay, this is the first step. And look at this gentleman. He's got money in his hand. Can you see that, all of you?
Yes, sir.
Currency. He's giving the money immediately. So it is a cash transaction, no doubt. Since it is a cash transaction, it is also called as a cash purchase. See, cash transaction means what? Where the money is quickly given, immediately given. But what kind of a transaction is that? It is a purchase transaction. So it is called as a cash purchase. Are you able to understand now? What is a cash
Yes.
purchase? So guys, what is a transaction? A transaction means it should involve two people. One is the supplier and second is we, the businessman. The supplier is giving goods to the business, which is we. That is treated as one transaction. And we give cash instantly. It is treated as another transaction. Since both of them are happening on the same time, it is called a cash purchase or cash transaction. If I just tell cash transaction, it is not sufficient. I need to specify what kind of a cash transaction is it, because that can be cash purchase, there can be cash sales, there can be so many types of cash transaction. So cash purchase is one of the kind of cash transaction. Are you able to follow? If you ask me, sir, what is the example of cash transaction? It is cash purchase. Second example is cash sales. Like that, I can keep on giving the example. So cash transaction, credit transaction is a category under which cash purchase and cash sale comes. Guys, are you able to follow what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Everybody? Boys?
Yes, sir.
Guys, I'm telling you one thing. Wherever you feel that you're not comfortable, you're not understanding, immediately raise your hands, or you can stop me in between and ask the question. Don't think that in between, if I ask what will sir feel, or if I ask the question, everybody understood, only I did not understood. So what will the other people, other students feel about me, or other person think about me? If you have this kind of thought process, please eliminate it. In my class, that doesn't work. I ask a simple question for you. If I prick a knife, will it pain or not pain?
Yes, sir.
Everybody, I want answer from everybody.
Yes, sir.
If I prick a thorn, in Tamil we say mul. In Hindi we say kanta. If I prick that, will it pain or not pain?
Yes, sir.
So whether it is a small doubt or whether it is a big doubt, doubt is always painful. So don't keep any doubts in your mind. In my class, you can take one thing from me in writing, that there is nothing called a silly doubt. Doubt is a doubt. That's all. Some people tell me, sir, if you don't mind, can I ask a doubt? Why will I mind? My job is to clarify all your doubts. So why do you hesitate? You have the right. First of all, understand that you have the right to ask it. You should feel bad only when when teacher is explaining and you're concentrating on PUBG or Instagram or WhatsApp, and that time if you're not listening and then you ask, then you should feel bad about. But otherwise, if you're listening, but due to some reason still you're not able to understand it, you have the all rights to ask me what. If you want me to repeat, I'll repeat it. So can we have that clarity in our minds?
Yes, sir.
All
Yes,
of
sir.
you? Boys?
Yes, sir.
என்னப்பா பாய்ஸ்க்கு வந்து எனர்ஜி
Yes,
கம்மியா இருக்கு, நல்ல பலமா பேசணும். ஆனா எனர்ஜி இல்லைன்னா இது ஜூஸ் சாப்பிடுறியா, இப்பதான் நான் சாப்பிட்டேன், செம்ம தெம்பா இருக்கும், அப்படியே ஜாலியா இருக்கும் லைஃப்ல. சரியா? Now guys, now next you have to understand credit purchase. What is credit purchase? Now this gentleman is giving the goods. Look at this fellow, how much happy he is. He's coming running towards the goods because he doesn't have to pay the money now. which means he'll pay the money later. So this gentleman, the supplier, is giving goods to the business. So what is a transaction? A transaction will involve two people. One is supplier, another is business. And between them, something is exchanged, which is goods. Goods is going. So this is a transaction. Is it a financial transaction? Yes, because even though the money is not paid now, it will be paid in future. So hence it is a financial transaction and it is related to business. So hence it is a business financial transaction to be recorded in the books of accounts. Since money is not paid now, since the money is paid later, if you see in this person's hand, there is no money. This guy is not having any money to pay. But still, the supplier is willing to give the goods because the supplier knows that businessman for a very long time. He knows that sooner or later, that gentleman will give me the money. So in that confidence, he is giving the goods. So such kind of a transaction is called as a credit purchase. It is a purchase transaction, but the nature of purchase transaction is credit. Any doubts here, please?
No, sir.
What is a credit transaction? A transaction where you're selling the goods or buying the goods, but you're not making the payment, you're not receiving the payment, but it will be doing at a later date. So that is called as a credit transaction. So example of a credit transaction is credit purchase, credit sale. These are the example. So credit transaction is a category. In that you have these two examples. So far, are you clear with whatever I taught?
One doubt, sir.
Yes, boss.
Yes, sir.
Sir, one doubt, sir. The supplier is the creditor or the person who's getting the goods is a creditor?
From the business point of view, when I do the accounting, for me, this guy is a creditor. So now whatever the names I've told you, supplier, vendor, and creditor, it is from business point of view. So in my books, I'll call him as a creditor. I will call. For example, you have supplied the goods to me. So I am a businessman. I am accounting for my business. For me, in my books, I'll not put your name. Instead of your name, I'll put it as creditor. Is your query answered?
Yes, sir.
Shri, that was you to ask, right?
So what, sir?
Shri, nee keti, Akash ketingla.
I can't speak, sir.
Okay, great. So guys, now clear karna your doubt? So whatever
Yes,
I'm
sir.
explaining you, it is from the business point of view, from the business point of view. Can I go forward, guys, all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now, goods. What is goods? Goods are physical items. Physical means something which I can touch, which are purchased with the intention to resell. Okay, with the intention to resell or with intention to consume also. But here, normally in accounts, if you see majorly, when we say goods, the intention is always to resell. That's why they have only one word, to resell. But yes, in certain cases, we buy the goods with the intention to consume. So that goods is not purchase, that is expense. If I buy something with the intention to resell, it is purchase of goods. If it is with the intention to consume it, it is expense of goods, right? So goods means something which you can physically touch. For example, this is a goods for me because it is something which you can physically touch. So are you clear with this word goods?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now guys, raw material. Have all of you baked cake?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So I think from the last year when the lockdown has started, I've discovered a lot of chef on Instagram. I think within 1 or 2 months of lockdown, people have become master chef, man. I've seen people making cupcakes, this cake, that cake. Even I got so fierce. என்னப்பா சம்பந்தம் இல்லாம ஒருத்தன் வந்து கேக் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கான். கேக்குக்கும் அவனுக்கு தொழிலுக்கு சம்பந்தமே இல்ல. That is, there's no relationship between what this guy used to do and he's making cake and putting on Instagram that I made lovely cakes and all. So I got, my mind got turned around. I was like, no, even I'll make cake. So what did I do? I told my wife, do you know in cake what all ingredients is put? My wife said yes. Bring all those ingredients. Said yeah. Then I asked my wife, do you know how much ingredients to put to make 1 kg of cake? She said yes. I said, okay, take all those ingredients, put it on the, there's one bowl she gave. I told her to put everything inside. And then I asked her, what do I do next? She was like, you have to, mix all the ingredients to make it a batter. I was like, okay, fine. Then she was like, pour this into that, that aluminum foil thing is come, you pour it and put it in a cooker or put it in oven and something, and she, baked it for some half an hour, 40 minutes, and the cake is ready. And what is my work? After the cake was, taken from that oven or that whatever thing is, garnishing was my, best part. So, I used to see that chocolate is put and so many chocolates above that is being put to decorate, gems is put to make it more colorful. And I did that. And, I took a snap and I put on Instagram that, I've made a cake, and everybody appreciated me. And you should look at my wife's face. She was so red faced. She asked me, what the hell did you do? It is me who took the ingredients. It is me who have, put the quantities of ingredients. You just shaked it and you just poured it. I was the person who, knew how to do the baking for how many minutes. And you just poured some chocolate over that, did some shit on that, and you're telling that you made a cake. But that's how people fooled, no? If you see all 80% of the people, that is the men who have put the cake on the Instagram in this entire lockdown, and it continued even in this lockdown. That's how people did it. So what can I do? So guys, all of you know to make cake like me, or do you know to really make cake?
Sir, I bake for a living. I earn money.
Oh, wow.
Yes, sir.
Person who's in 11th standard, she bakes a cake, she earns it. And what did we do when we were 11th? My God, what a shame. That is for me. Okay. So I think that's a good inspiration. So yes, indeed, a lot of people, discovered in the lockdown as to what their skills are. People actually got the time to invest, invest their time in some skills, and people discovered a lot of things. This is something which is missing in our education system, because right from the first standard until, your college and your graduation is done, you are only into studies. And because of that, we somehow miss, to understand what skills we have, right? So yes, education is a bigger and important part of a career, but it is not all. I think we need to again, work on sharpening our skills so that we identify what are we good at, so that we can, choose a career according to it. But unfortunately, the system that is in place, does not permit us to have that luxury time, for our, sharpening our skills. So let's hope that, someday in future, we get that time for ourselves, right? So yes, guys. So can you tell me a couple of ingredients that is required for baking a cake?
So
Sir,
flour,
flour, sugar, butter, eggs.
Slowly, I forget it. Flour,
Flour, sugar,
filling. I'm pretty bad at
FLOUR,
FLOUR. Okay.
sugar,
FLOUR and a sugar, then
butter,
butter.
eggs.
You were about to say butter chicken?
No.
No. Okay. No eggs. I'm a pure vegetarian.
Oh, okay.
So vanilla essence,
Yeah.
right? Then
Milk.
milk, cream,
baking powder, baking soda.
baking powder, baking soda.
Salt.
People are excited. All girls have started answering. Alexa, this is my forte. So you ask me, I'll teach you, sir. Come. Okay. That's nice. Then that's all. Anything else? Salt.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, it's a very main ingredient.
Yes, sir.
அடப்பவி என் வைஃப் சொல்லவே இல்ல. இது வரைக்கும் சால்ட் இல்லாம கேக் கொடுத்திருக்கா? வெச்சுக்கிறேன் நீ வேற. அப்புறம் அவ்வளவுதானே?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now you will say, sir, this flour, sugar, butter, vanilla essence, milk, everything you call it as a goods because something can touch it. But I will not call this as goods, because when I was purchasing the flour, not flour, some people, when I say flour, they say, sir, you're a CA, you don't know how do you pronounce it? It's flour. Okay, it's not flour. Okay, so sorry, it's flour. Okay, so flour, sugar, butter, vanilla essence, milk. So when you buy, the intention is not to resell. So you cannot fundamentally call these as goods. Then what should I call? We call it as a raw material. This is a raw material to manufacture a good. And what is a good here? The goods, what we're talking about, the goods here is called as cake. You getting my point? So what is a raw material? Raw materials are physical items which are used in manufacturing of the goods and product. That is cake here. Are you able to understand? So what is manufacturing, guys? Manufacturing is something that you buy couple of raw materials, okay? You buy couple of raw materials, you combine it together in such a way that after the combination, that particular goods is given a new name. It is turned out into a new feature. For example, when you have purchased this flour, flour had something else in your mind. Flour means you had some other image, some other taste in your mind. Sugar, butter, vanilla essence, there is some other image in your mind. But when all of them were put together, guys, the final product is cake, which is altogether a different product with a different characteristics. So the process of converting the raw material into final product, this is called as a manufacturing. Am I making sense? The process of converting the raw material into goods, this is called as finished goods, because the cake is finished. Finished means not that finished, poche. Not that finished, properly finished. It's a finished good. So this flour, sugar, butter is called as a raw material, and this cake is called as a finished goods. Now tell me, guys, you put all the what do you call it, ingredients together, you made it a batter. So that basically, if I see, there are 3 steps. Okay, the first step is the raw material stage, where you accumulate all the raw materials. Am I right? Then you mix all the raw material together to make it a batter. And this batter is again, you're heating it in an oven to make it a finished goods, which is a cake. So guys, the first stage, the ingredient stage, is called as a raw material. And the stage which is in between, that is a batter. That is when the goods is half finished, semi-finished. It is called as work in progress. Work in progress. When any manufacturing process in between, it is semi-finished. Semi-finished. It is called as work in progress. And when finally the goods is made, it is called as finished goods. So you have to remember 3 things, guys. One is raw material, second is work in progress, third is finished goods. So can you remember this example, cake example? The first stage is raw material stage, where you have all the ingredients. Then you put all of them to make a batter. The batter stage is called as work in progress. And the final, when the cake is ready, that is called as finished goods. Now, are you clear what is the meaning of raw material, work in progress, and finished goods? Here,
Yes, sir.
WIP and FG I have missed out. I will include that and probably send the PDF to you. So are you clear with these 3 terms? Please tell me.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Super happy? Okay. Now, guys, do you want me to give a break of 5 minutes, 7 minutes, and then come back and continue, or do you want me to continue? It's 5:47 now. Do you want a break of 8 minutes so that we can start by 5:55 sharp?
Sure, sir.
Yes. So guys, take a break. I'll meet you at 5:55 p.m. So guys, welcome back from the break. So guys, we've just completed our understanding till raw material, and I hope you have made a note of what WIP and FG is. Just make a note of it, and when I give this PDF to you, I'll give with the proper explanation to it. Now the next thing is, guys, what is purchase return, right? Purchase return, which means somewhere the business has purchased some goods. Now they are returning the goods. Now what could be the reason of the goods? Maybe the quality of the goods, what we asked for, it was not as per the quality, so we did not like it, hence we are giving it back. So this could be one reason of purchase return. Second reason is that the goods which came to you were damaged, right? So after taking it inside your business premises, you checked it and you found it is damaged, so you want to return it back. So there could be multiple reasons why there could be a return. So what a purchase return is, basically, you had initially purchased the goods, you did not like it, so you are giving it back. If you see, the delivery boy is taking the goods and going back. So this is called a purchase return. So this is also a transaction. Why? In this transaction, 2 people are involved. One is this fellow, another is this fellow, and here the goods is also involved. So it is a transaction which involves money. Why money? Because of earlier purchase, you had made the payment, or you're supposed to make the payment. Now, when the transaction itself is cancelled because of this purchase return, the original entry of purchase needs to be cancelled. So that's why purchase return also is treated as a financial transaction to be recorded in the books of accounts, and it is related to the business. Hence, this is also a business financial transaction to be recorded in the books of accounts. I repeat, you would have earlier recorded purchase in your books of accounts. To cancel this, you cannot go and delete it or you cannot go and erase it. That option is not there. In accounting, whatever once is written, you cannot delete it or cut it. The only option is to pass another entry, to nullify the impact of this. So that is nothing but your purchase return. So purchase return is a business financial transaction to be recorded in your books of accounts. So when the goods bought are returned to the supplier, bought means purchased, bring, bought. I think it should be brought or bought. So I'm not sure that word's in English. I think it should be buy, bought, right? Yeah, so I think it is correct. So buy, plural is bought. So the goods what you bought is returned to the supplier. That is called as purchase return. Now here, guys, again, I told you Indians are obsessed, or people, human beings by nature, we are obsessed with multiple names. So another name for purchase return is return outward. Return outward means what? I'm returning something which is going outside my business. The goods what I purchased earlier, I'm returning it. So from my business, the goods are going out. So it is called as a return outward. So when you do a practical question, guys, they may sometimes mention purchase return, and sometimes to confuse you, they'll mention return outward. So having known the fact now, will you forget what is written outward, or will you be able to relate this to purchase return? What's it?
Related.
You'll be able to relate it. Very good. So purchase return, all of you are clear with the word purchase return?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Now, guys, sales, turnover. Sales has got another name, turnover. As we say, we are obsessed with multiple names. So we have two names.
So I have a question.
Yes, boss.
In the purchase return,
Yes.
so let's say first the businessman purchased it from the supplier. Now
Okay.
he's returning it back to the supplier.
Correct.
So is there any transaction of money, or does he just replace the goods?
Now, one thing, if he's replacing the goods, then not a problem. Now, this purchase return is something you're returning the goods back. You don't want it.
Oh, okay.
It's gone forever.
Okay.
You're not replacing the goods. Even if you want to replace goods, for example, let's say if you're sending this goods and a new lot is coming in, then you will still pass a purchase return transaction. So basically what happens is, I'll just come to the whiteboard. So you basically purchase some goods, okay, and you record an entry. You recorded that entry as a purchase in your books of accounts. Later, after a couple of days, you found out that the goods is not as per your quality, or it is damaged. So you want to return it. So you're returning. So this is purchase return. So now to cancel the impact of this, since I cannot delete this, to cancel the nullify the impact of this, I have to pass another entry. For example, if this is plus, I have to pass a minus entry so that the effect becomes 0. Because plus and minus the same number, you get it 0. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now here there are two possibilities. Now that supplier might replace you with a new goods, or he may say that, okay, that's all. Return means finish. I'm not dealing with you anymore. So two options. One is you are not dealing with that person anymore. You're not dealing with that person anymore. Then no problem. This is done. This is done. Your transaction, both the transactions nullified, cancelled. Now you may say that, sir, what if that person is, sending the goods, replacing the goods? When he's replacing the goods, again, he will send the goods. Along with that, he will send the bill. So again, I'll pass a purchase of goods entry.
So even if he's gonna, replace the goods, you'll first have purchase goods, then the
return, then purchase. Yes.
And then again. Okay.
Because every time, see, now here also, this is a transaction, isn't it? Where two people are involved and the process is returning. So this is a transaction. So accounting says that in business, all the transaction needs to be recorded and captured. So because of that condition also, now you're feeling that, sir, when we are trying to replace, then why are we doing this? See, your question or your intention is, sir, when somebody is going to replace, then why are you, increasing the burden of your work? It is because of the accounting rule that every transaction needs to be accounted for. So that is why this is a separate transaction. This is a separate transaction. This is a separate transaction. I hope you answered your query.
Yeah. Thank you.
That's great. Guys, can I go forward, all of you?
Yes,
sir.
Akash, Shri, can I go forward?
Yes, sir.
Boys, keep
Yes, sir.
participating. Only then I'll get to know that you're listening to me or not listening to me. So please participate. So yes, next is, guys, sales and turnover. Colloquially what sales and turnover means, but still I would just give an idea. Now, as a businessman, we have seen a case so far where we purchased goods. But any business will not just purchase the goods. They'll purchase the goods, again, they'll sell it. No. So now as a businessman, guys, I'm the person who's selling the goods to the customers. So this gentleman who is here, who's receiving the goods, this is called as a customer. Okay, so let me just erase this part. Okay. Yes, guys. So this person is called as a business who's selling the goods to this person and this person. And both the persons, we call it as customer. So what is happening in the first case? In the first case, I'm giving the goods. I'm selling the goods. I'm selling the goods to the customer. But if you see in the customer hand, there is no money, which means he'll give me the money later. So can I call this as a credit sale? Please tell me.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. In the second case, if you see, I'm selling the goods to the customer and the customer is having the money in his hand, which means he's giving me the money immediately. So second is receipt of money. I'm receiving the money. I'm receiving the money. So this is a cash sale. Now are you clear, guys? What is cash sale? What is credit sale?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now,
Yes,
one more
sir.
important point. Let me change the color of my pen to this. Now this person, guys, in a very colloquial language, we call it as a customer. But the person who is taking the goods on credit, the person that is from the business point of view, this customer who promises to pay the money later, we have given another name in accounts, and that is called as a debtor. I repeat one more time. Business is giving goods to the customer and customer is promising to pay the money later. So you call it him as a customer. But in accounts, you have given another name to this customer alone. I'm only talking about this customer. The person who's given me the money, this person who's given me the money, I'm not talking about that person. Guys, the person who's given the money, I'm not talking about this person. I'm talking about the person who promised to pay me later. Now tell me one thing, guys. If this gentleman has to pay me the money in future, which means I have to, as a businessman, I need to remember to collect this money in future. Yes or no? I sold the goods today to one customer and that customer will pay me after 1 month. Don't you think that I need to remember this thing in my mind?
Yes, sir.
In the business, there are hundreds or thousands of customers to whom you are selling the goods on credit basis. Is it practically possible to remember all the names by heart in memory?
No, sir.
No, sir.
You have to, in order to remember it, you have to account it. So in what category will you record this person's name? You'll record this person's name with name. Let's say you record Akash, you record, Nivedita and so many people. Name will be there. But all this put together, that is Akash, Nivedita, Shri, all these people put together who have taken the goods on credit from me, these people together is called as a debtor. The category is called as a debtor. Are you able to understand what debtor is?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Now this debtor and creditor is opposite. Now creditor is who? We have just discussed the word creditor here. Yes?
Supplier.
Business calls the supplier as a creditor because business has to remember to pay to the supplier. I may be purchasing the goods not from one supplier. I'll be purchasing from thousands of suppliers on credit basis. So I need to remember their names. Okay, so their individual names, I'll have it. No doubt individual names, I'll have it. But all these people put together are technically in accounting called as creditor. Am I clear with the word debtor and creditor?
Yes, sir.
In accounts, this word debtor and creditor will be used multiple n number of times.
A debtor is a supplier. I mean, a creditor is a supplier. Debtor is the person who gets the goods.
Correct.
One credit.
Debtor is, in short, you can say that they are customer. Creditor means supplier. Creditor means supplier. Debtor means, I cannot use the word CR and DR. Sorry. CR and DR has got a different meaning. I'll use the full form. Creditor. Debtor. Guys, is the screen visible to all of you below?
Yes, sir.
Creditor means the person who is supplying the goods to the business, and debtor is customer. So creditor and debtor is a category. It's a category under which these people fit in. Am I clear with this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And this
Yes,
is from
sir.
the business point of view. From the business point of view. If business is purchasing the goods from the supplier, then he's called as a creditor. If business is selling the goods to the customer, then this customer is called as a debtor. It is always, guys, we are always discussing from the point of view of business. Because you are accountants. We are accountants of the business. Am I clear with this?
Yes, sir.
Very
Yes.
good. Super. Now, what is meaning of sale? Sale means where goods meant for resale You purchase the goods which were meant for resale, no, that you sold to the customer. That is called as sale or turnover. Sale or turnover is interchangeable terms. Can I go forward? All of you clear with this? Guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next is, guys, sales return. Now, can you guess what sales return means? Can you tell me what sales return would mean? Can I say the customer who had taken the goods from me, now he is returning the goods. See, this is business. And this is customer. The customer is not liking our product, hence it is coming back with the trolley to give that goods back to us. So when the goods sold, you sold the goods to the customer and that is returned by the customer. It is called as sales return. Simple. Maybe because the customer did not like the quality, or maybe customer found out that the product was damaged after going home, after going to their home. So they are returning it back. So it is called as a sales return. And sales return is also called as return inward. Return inward. Why it is called as a return inward? Because the goods is coming inside the business. So now people get very much confused with return outward and return inward. So what is return outward? Outward means goods are going out. When will goods go out? I purchased the good, I did not like it, so I returned it. So goods are going out. So hence it is return outward. So return outward means purchase, return. Return inward, goods are coming inside. Return inward. Return inward means not purchase. Return inward means the goods which is sold, it is coming return back to me. And the return is coming inside. So when will the return come inside? When does sale return? People get very much confused between return outward and return inward. So return means something, people are returning it back to you. So return outward means what? Goods is going outside. When will goods go outside? When business is not liking it and giving it back. Return inward means goods is coming inside because customer is not liking it. Guys, now can I say you will not be confused between return outward and return inward?
Yes, sir.
Everybody?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's great. Next is, guys, expense. Expense means the cost incurred to earn the income. Cost incurred. You're incurring some expense. Incur means what? You're spending. Incur means spending. Cost spent to earn an income. Example, rent, guys. I have taken my academy on rent. Why I have taken my academy on rent? So that I can give service to you and earn the income out of it. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Tell me, guys.
Yes, sir.
So in your accounts, you'll call something as expense only when that expense is contributed in earning income. Now I'm going to a movie with my family and I've spent, let's suppose, 1,000 rupees on watching a movie. Can I call this as my business expense?
No, sir.
Because
Okay.
this 1,000 rupees is not contributing in earning my income. It is just for my pleasure and satisfaction. I'm, going for a movie. So I will not take this 1,000 rupees into consideration. This is my personal expenses, and personal expenses are out of the purview of accounts. So for me to treat something as expense, it has to help in earning my income of the business. For example, rent. Without the premises, I cannot run my academy. Electricity. Without electricity, how will I run my academy? Telephone expenses. Without telephone expenses, how can I run my academy? How can I earn my income? Transportation. If I'm into the business of goods, buying and selling goods, so I need to incur transportation so that I can supply my goods to the customers. Stationery, guys. Stationery expenses, whatever I'm doing in my business. Guys, is my voice audible to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, I had
Yes,
a power cut, so because of which my Wi-Fi got switched off. So I just switched off to Android device. So yes, guys, can we continue?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So until where did you listen to me? I was talking about business expense, right? I was talking about
Sure.
stationary expenses, right? So I told the stationary expenses, whatever I'm doing, the A4 sheets, or let's say pen, paper, pencil, whatever I'm buying it because I want to use it for the business. Without that, I cannot develop my business. So some expenses will directly contribute in earning the income, and some expenses indirectly. Guys, correct? Some expenses will directly help you to earn your income. For example, if I say transportation charges is directly helping me to increase my increase my income. Without this, I cannot run my business. Whereas stationery, the paper pen which I buy, it may not directly attribute or help me in earning my income, but indirectly. So there are some direct expenses, some indirect expenses. Are you able to follow what I'm trying to say, all of you?
Yes, sir.
Making sense? Okay, great. Next is profit, guys. Profit means very simple. When my income is more than expenditure, excess of income over expenses is called as profit. That's what we did yesterday, right? Now here in accounts, profit is divided into multiple names. Multiple names has been given to profit, and all these are not same. These are all different, right? So as you go forward, guys, when we start doing a trading P&L account, when we do multiple analysis statement, you will get to know what is the meaning of these profits. So profits is further divided into two types. One is gross profit, net profit. It is just not these two. There's something called as operating profit, etc. Operating profit is something which you'll get to know only in 12th standard, or maybe I think 11th it is there. Yes. So what is gross profit? What is net profit? What is operating profit? All these things you'll get to know as and when we do the practical aspect of it. Now you'll not understand anything, right? So this is the formula to calculate the gross profit. This is the formula to calculate my net profit. You will not understand this, guys. You will get the clarity only when we do the trading and P&L. So as of now, to remember what profit means, that when your income is more than your expenditure, it is your profit. Loss, it is opposite. Can I say when your expense is more than income, it is loss. Loss is again further divided into two types. One is gross loss, another is net loss. What is gross loss? What is net loss? We'll understand when we do trading and P&L account. Okay, so I'm just giving a half answer for profit and loss. You'll understand it completely when we do the trading and P&L account, right? So far, guys, how do you feel comfortable with overall whatever I discussed? Please.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now whatever items what we discussed, guys, everything, like right from the beginning, that is from the purchase, before purchase we had what is books of accounts, what is cash transaction, what is credit transaction. This is very common. These three were common. Right from purchases, when we saw, all these were something either related to income or expense. Purchase also, guys, in a way, do you agree that it is kind of expense because I have to pay money for that to buy goods? We don't technically call it as expense because the name that is given in accounts is purchase. But somewhere internally in heart, we know that even that is our expenditure. So can I say that whatever items we have discussed so far, everything was related to either income or expenditure? You can go back and see. Right from the beginning, purchase is a kind of expenditure. Goods comes under purchase. Raw material comes under purchase. Purchase return is also a category of your income and expenditure. Sales is something related to your income and expenditure. Income, basically. Sales return is something related to that. Expenses. Can I say all these terms where, can I say directly or indirectly related to income and expenditure? So your income and expenditure, guys, when you record all your transactions under income and expenditure category, we call it as trading and profit and loss account. We call it as trading and profit and loss account. Trading and profit and loss account is a place, guys, where you will record your income, you record your expense in order to know what is your profit and what is your loss. You guys are able to follow what I'm saying? So whatever we have discussed so far, guys, these were all the items falling under the category trading and profit and loss account. I told you that in business, there are two primary things. Like so not in business, while we do accounts, what is the need for accounting? I told you two important things. One is to find your profit and loss. Am I right or wrong?
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes.
The first and the foremost need of accounting, the importance of accounting is to find out the profit and loss. And second is to find out the financial position. Yes or no? Financial position. What is the position of your cash? What is the position of your inventory? What is the position of your debtor? What is the position of your creditor? These are all the financial position. So To find out P&L, guys, the statement that we prepare is trading and P&L account. And to find out the financial position, the statement that we prepare is balance sheet. Am I clear? Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
In trading and P&L account, what all the nature of transactions that you record? You record the transactions or nature of transactions pertaining to income or gain and expense or loss. So if you want to know what is my income, you will go and see your trading and P&L account. If you want to know what is my gain, you will go and look into your trading and P&L account. If you want to know what is your expense and loss, you'll be referring to this one and only statement, which is trading and P&L. If you want to know what is your income, and if you want to go and see in balance sheet will not give you any information on income. So there is certain statement which is earmarked for certain category of transactions. If I want to know at the end of the year, at the end of my financial year, that is on 31st March, what is the cash balance left? What is my cash balance? What is my stock balance? What is my debtor balance? What is my creditor balance? What is my bank balance? So all these things which is balance, எவ்வளவு balance பண்றது லைஃப்ல ரொம்ப கஷ்டமா இருக்கு. அப்படி நினைக்கவே கூடாது. லைஃப் ஃபுல்லா ஈஸி. நினைச்சா ஈஸி இல்லனா கஷ்டம். Sorry, English. Yes. So if you want to know the balance of everything, so if wife wants to know the balance of husband's, bank account, cash account, she'll look at the accounts of the husband. I don't know how many of your mom does that. Fortunately, my wife doesn't does that because everything is with her. So she doesn't have to check anything, So all the so-called balances is something which you will come under, see under, balance sheet. So guys, just like we had two categories, this is one category. Income and gain is one category. Expenses another category in trading P&L. Same way, here also in balance sheet, guys, we have two categories. One is asset category. Another is liability category. I understand there's too much things to discuss, so I'm not going too much in detail. I'm just giving an outer line. I'll be stopping it here in next 2-3 minutes. I'll stop it. I'll not take it forward. I'm just trying to give an outer line. So whatever I have discussed so far, we discussed all the items which were either pertaining to income gain or expense loss. And that is something, if you want more details about it, you can find in your trading and P&L account. Whereas if I want to know the balance of certain items, there is cash, stock, yes, boss.
P&L account is profit and loss.
Exactly. P&L means profit and loss. So now guys, if I want to find out the balance of these items, I will go to my balance sheet. And here also guys, just we have income expense category. Here also we have category called asset and liability. So what is asset? What all comes under asset? Whether cash comes under asset, whether stock comes under asset or liability, debtors, all this categorization we'll understand in next couple of classes. Right? Are you able to follow? So guys, the rule is that whenever you give injection, you don't give it in full shot that people start crying. You have to go give slowly, slowly doses. So I'm just trying to increase the doses little by little so that you're vaccinated at the same time you don't feel the pain. So it's basically a painless vaccine which I'm giving to you. Right guys? So what I'll do is I'll put an end to today's session here with loss. So technically guys, from the next class onwards, I'll be discussing with you the balance sheet part. So this liabilities, what is liability, what is capital, what is trade payables, what is assets, everything I'll be discussing in detail in the next class. So are you getting that feel of studying? Are you able to enjoy what you're doing? Enjoyment is very important, guys. In my class and whatever you do, happiness is very important. Being happy. I feel that all those people, those who are not happy in what they're doing, they're just wasting their life. So my question to all of you, are you happy with what you're doing today? Navya, what do you feel?
I feel good. I thought accounting was very hard, but it seems to be fine.
I'm telling you, trust me, I'm telling you, I don't lie. You can talk to all my, students who have done classes with me in last couple of years. You will have a good time. You'll have a gala time. You will not know when you're enjoying. You'll not know when you're studying. But that is a beauty, right? So that is the beauty. So trust me, guys, this is how things are going to be. Yes, in between, somewhere here and there, as you know, we go. CBSE is indeed known for some tough concepts. So you will find some roller coaster ride. right? So we'll get through that also, don't worry. But I'll ensure that throughout the journey, you don't feel that much of pain is what I would, take care of, right? So on this note, I'll be ending today's session, and my sincere request to all of you is that we can pass on this video also. I'll be uploading on YouTube. So if you can share those two lectures, the previous and today's one, I think we can reach to maximum people and make them understand, how enjoyable we can make accounting. It's with us, where we can make things very enjoyable. So if I take, I can make this class equally boring. If you want, I can give a demo. Pretty boring. And you will, within one class, you'll say, ஐயோ இந்த சார் கிட்ட படிக்க வேணாமா சாமி நான் போறேன்னு சொல்லிட்டு தெரிச்சு ஓடிறீங்க. That also is possible. So if you want to see that face also, I can show you. And I choose to be this. I love what I'm doing. You enjoy what you're doing. All of us we enjoy. We never know that when 11th is completed, when 12th is completed. Just go with the flow. That's how the life is. Right, guys? So I'll put an end to today's session here. I'll meet you all positively on Saturday, same time, 5 to 6:30. Until then, bye-bye. See you. Take care.
Sir, you will share this PPT with us, sir.